Right, interesting article here on the motoringchronicle.com concerning Nissan, the Japanese car maker who have a lot of big plants here in the UK. They make a lot of cars here in the United Kingdom, and they have called for urgent action on the UK's zero emission vehicle ZEV mandates. Let's have a look at this, guys, because we all know that the UK is trying to go carbon neutral or whatever in the future, but it does seem a bit of a pie in the sky goal, if I'm being totally honest. But let's have a look at what's been said here by the government and also by the Japanese car manufacturer Nissan. Full article on the motoringchronicle.com as always. Nissan has today called for urgent action to avoid car makers being penalised for slowdown in electric vehicle sales in the UK, resulting from outdated targets in the UK's zero emissions vehicle mandate. The mandate was established to incentivise manufacturers to move on from petrol and diesel vehicles to electric vehicles, under the assumption that the sharp rise in consumer demand for EVs seen in recent years was continuing. Despite discounting by manufacturers to drive sales this year, the SMMT predicts that the slowdown in consumer demand means that EV sales will only reach 18.5% of the total market against the 2024 ZEV mandate target for 22%, which will rise to 28% in 2025. So basically, for 24 this year, they are predicting it's going to be 18.5% of the market of sales of new cars, but they were actually predicting that it was going to be 22% according to this ZEV mandate. So that is a whole 3.5% down, and they also originally predicted it's going to go up by another 6% since then in 25, which is more than optimistic looking at that. Missing the target will result in significant fines for manufacturers unless credits are purchased from EV-only brands, none of which manufacture in the UK, meaning that UK automotive industry will effectively be subsidising EV sectors in other countries at the expense of investment in Britain. So basically, what that means is that there are no electric-only brands that are manufacturing cars in the UK. So for example, Tesla, I believe all those vehicles are electric. They only manufacture vehicles probably in the US. They don't have a plant here in the UK, and there are no others as well. So yeah, effectively we are giving foreign aid basically over this, which is just great. Nissan remains committed to a fully electric future, with partners investing billions in new models and technologies for its UK operations. In light of the slowdown in consumer demand, the UK government needs to urgently address the ZEV mandate to protect such investments, including increased flexibility on borrowing credits for future years in the short term, a 2-year monitoring period for 24 and 25 in place of potentially devastating fines for the industry. This would allow companies to plan accordingly and ensure the UK can deliver on the 80% target by 2030. 80% by 2030. That's not happening. I can't see that, even amidst the existing market headwinds. Yeah, so I'm not going to go through that quote. That'll probably take too long. But yeah, there's some interesting stuff in here for sure. So as the government industrial strategy recognises UK automotive manufacturing is an essential growth driving sector, it employs hundreds of thousands of people across the country and represents 12% of the UK exports. Nissan is proud to call the UK home, employing over 7,000 people who design, engineer and build vehicles in Britain for customers across Europe and the world, contributing more than $2 billion a year to the UK economy through wages, UK built parts and services. Not only the UK's biggest car maker through its Sunderland plant MNUK, Nissan also designs and engineers vehicles through its International Design NDE and Research and Development NTCE teams in Paddington and Cranfield respectively. 3 new EVs have also been announced for the UK production as part of the Nissan EV 360 blueprint. They really love the acronyms, these guys, for the manufacturing. EV and battery production powered by renewable energy, associated investments in battery recycling, skills development and vehicle-to-grid technology are also still in progress and help to realise a sustainable, fully electric future. Nissan recognises that further discussion is required on improving the customers' incentives and in charging infrastructure to support transition to EVs in the longer term. However, the immediate changes proposed by Nissan to the ZEV mandate would not cost anything to the UK taxpayer and would remove the risk of investments in future vehicles and technologies being diverted into fines and credits for overseas manufacturers. Cartier added, "We are committed to working with the government and industry partners on a long-term solution, but action is urgently needed to ensure that we protect UK car manufacturing and ensure that we can all realise the support and transition to zero emissions and carbon neutrality." Right, okay. So, yeah, I mean, what they're saying is fair. I mean, basically, what's going to happen if nothing changes? What's most likely going to happen is that these manufacturers are not going to be able to sell enough electric vehicles because the demand is not high enough for electric vehicles to meet the required parameters of this mandate, the ZEV mandate. If they don't meet it, then they will get massive fines. To meet it, they would have to effectively buy parts and cars from abroad using other electric vehicle manufacturers, something that is just going to take money away from the UK and put it into the pockets of other countries, which you don't want to do unless you have to do it. So basically what they want to do is revise the figures, make the figures more attainable, because it's 3.5% in this year that they're off, but what about next year when it's meant to increase by 6%? Will it increase by 6% and still be 3.5% off? Maybe it'll be closer, we don't know, but I imagine they're probably estimating now that it's going to be significantly less than what they originally forecasted when they did the mandate, because that's an estimate at the end of the day. There's such a thing as supply and demand, and these car manufacturers like Nissan, they can supply all they want. They could build millions upon millions of EVs, but what is the point if nobody wants to buy them, or not enough people want to buy them to meet that supply? Supply and demand is an important thing at the end of the day. It's basically what capitalism is, in this sense. But if there's not enough people wanting to buy them, what's the point? You can't. And then you get into the territory where people potentially aren't going to get the cars they actually want because the only option is an EV, and they don't want an EV. And then you get unhappy customers. So it's got a real knock-on effect, and it would make sense for them to change it. Whether the government will or not, don't know. We'll have to see. The sensible option would be to sit down, listen to the concerns, and then if those concerns are legitimate, which they sound like they are, then make some kind of change to it. But what do you guys think? Do you think the UK is being too ambitious with its EV target, with its net zero target, with this mandate? I think it's being a little bit too ambitious. Like I said at the start, it's a bit pie in the sky, really. But let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And of course, keep it tuned to the Motoring Chronicle for much more news, analysis, and opinions on the world of motoring just like this. Like, share, comment, subscribe, ring the bell as well. And we'll see you very soon, guys. Have a good one.